Not really. What?
I just have stuff printed out and my phone won't connect to.
Do you want to pack it or?
Huh?
Do you want to pack it? Like Sean?
Are you guys good? Okay. Good evening. Sorry for the delay. We were having connectivity issues, but I think we have them all resolved now. How is everyone tonight? Good, thanks. Good. We're alive. It is, isn't it? Gorgeous. All right. Well, we're just going to go right into roll call then.
Councilor Mel. Here. Councilor Tyson.
Here.
Tom.
Here. All right. Item number 1, approval of minutes from the April 23rd work session. Have you had a chance to review the minutes, councilors?
Yes.
Okay.
I move that we approve the April 23rd minutes.
All those in favor? Moving on to the minutes from the October 4th, 2023 special council meeting. Did you have a chance to review those minutes? Do you have a chance to review those minutes?
I was not party to
Oh,
the meeting,
okay.
so I will abstain.
Perfect. Great, October.
I'll make a motion, but you'll have to second it, so we. I'll make a motion to approve the, October 4th, 2020 special city council.
Okay, all those in favor?
Abstain.
Two in favor, and those opposed,
She's abstaining just because she wasn't there.
There,
just checking.
I wasn't there.
Moving right along. The next item on our agenda is open forum. So anyone in the gallery that would like to make any public comment at this time? Is there anybody online that would like to make a comment during open forum?
You know where that feedback is coming from, Ron? It's the audio is on a delay.
Is anyone online? We have one in the audience, we could let him go.
Oh, I'm sorry, is there somebody? Oh, yeah, Dean. Come on up. Hi, can you just tell us your name and your address, please?
Dean Blair, 13960 Southwest River Lane. I know you have a full agenda. I'm going to keep this very short. An issue came up in the April 24 Planning Commission meeting. I've emailed you and you've all responded and like that, and so I'm just kind of following up on that. Noting Type 3 actions require a community meeting. The purpose is to provide an opportunity for neighbors to review the proposal and identify issues that can be addressed prior to submission of the application. New Homes Company submitted a massive application and completely complied with everything in our development code regarding their neighborhood meeting. However, very few citizens actually knew the meeting was taking place. It's just our development code is great for the city it was. We're bigger now. Anyway, I asked the applicant if future applications they'd be supportive of a more robust community involvement. They were very supportive. My written testimony has all the details, and so I see we have an agenda item discussing and considering the charter code amendments and all that. So if this is a part of that, I support it. If not, I'm only requesting that it be put on for a future agenda item. So thank you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Here's the written.
Okay, yeah, and give it to Ronnie so he can, or if you have other copies, you can take them, that way he can share.
Yeah, I know that our city planner, Max, is doing kind of a big overhaul of the charter. Is that one of the things that,
So the requirement is in the code,
okay,
and it's 260 feet, because historically, if you are within the city and you're just building a, property on your lot,
mhm,
then you would just be required to notify your neighbors, which makes sense.
mhm,
And development that Mr. Blair is talking about is taking place over on East Bend and Roy Rogers, so there obviously is a bit of a problem with the requirement. It's not going to meet anyone within the actual city limits.
mhm.
So that is something that I'm taking a look at.
Okay.
There's a couple different ways, things that we have to consider, because this is applicant-driven community meeting. It's required by the city, but it's not done by the city.
Mm.
And so something like mailing out letters and stuff is very costly to the city, and also it's not supposed to be done by the city. So we have to take a look at maybe having certain thresholds. If there is a level of development that is beyond, X amount of homes, then that could then set off a requirement for a greater reach of people that need to be notified. There's a couple different things to consider, but we also publish notice of development per our code. So our code also requires us to publish in a circulating newspaper. So for this one, we publish in both the Tiger Times and yours out there. Well, the city publishes notices for our hearings.
Mm.
The point in question is the applicant's community knowledge.
Right.
Again, it's outside of what the city does. have email correspondence and bounce some stuff around, trying to figure out the best way to do that going forward. To
Okay.
make it to where if we do have developments that are somewhere out within the urban growth boundary, figure out a way that makes sense to make it within the city.
Would you mind sending us an email so that we can start that dialogue? Please? And could I ask somebody to turn the thermostat down, please? I don't have myself. Thank you. Oh, yes, Gretchen. Yes. Please say your name and your address, please.
Gretchen Diener, 16585 Southwest Royalty Parkway, King City. The CCI, which is the central committee from all of the CPOs here in the area, Citizen Participation Organization, if you don't know what that is, that directly advises the Board of Commissioners, has brought up this issue many, many times and have been told by the county that state law mandates no more than a 500-foot circle around a development, and that don't mess with it, basically was the word that we got. So I want us to be very cautious about moving too far. I would be thrilled if we go to 500 feet, but I think that's probably about the limit that's going to pass muster. So I'm just, we've been tilting at that windmill.
Okay. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Is there anyone else that would like to make a comment? Viva?
I want to make a statement if anyone wants to raise their virtual hand after you.
Sure. Viva, could you please state your name and your address?
Viva Gaylor, 12700 Southwest Beef Bend Road. I would like to bring up to the City Council a suggestion on having a youth be added to the Budget Committee and look at the change in the charter, that possibly the less commitment, we could work with a math teacher or a business teacher, and it would be a project for a Tualatin High School or a Creekside that kind of serve our neighborhood. So I have talked about it for a few years, and I would just like maybe to narrow it down to a narrower position and requirement so that it wouldn't take as much work to do, and maybe a volunteer could coordinate with the school and a teacher so that it could happen, and be nice to get the kids involved. They are the future.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a question about that for you guys, or not you, for the city staff. Do we have to make a charter amendment to include youth in what we do? I mean, they're not voting for anything, right?
There was some legalities that Peter was concerned with.
Okay.
When we had discussed it previously, I thought, and they're not insurmountable in fact, it's just we have to go through some components to make it happen. So I do believe it was putting development in to create that.
So in order to do that, we just need a resolution, or no? No.
Yeah, so charter amendment is to go to the voters.
It has,
Anytime that you
okay.
change the charter, it has to go by referendum. So we were thinking, so if you, the council, would issue a youth here on the agenda later, charter, you have the authority to then create, even though it's not necessarily how it's charter can be called out in our charter. Planning commission is called out, and it does specify the components to be a planning. So those are pretty straightforward. That's where Peter was member to the council or to the
What about the budget committee?
council.
Because if we don't have to make a charter amendment for the budget committee or the city council, then we should absolutely move forward with that.
Is it something we got to look into?
Yeah, can we look into that and then put that on the agenda for next month? Because we have been talking about it I've been on the council for 4 years, and we've been talking about it for 4 years, so I think it's probably time to actually move forward with that. Great. Any other comments, online or in person? Hearing none, I will close the public forum. And we'll move on to new business, I believe. Did I jump? Nope, unfinished business.
The attorney for the Bruces is caught in litigation this week, so they requested, we, table this to actually be here.
Okay.
So, I believe our staff and engineers have all compiled everything, we're ready to go on our end. But we are asking that we table it to the next meeting, which, we also need to discuss later, but it's typically the third Wednesday of the month, but that falls on Juneteenth, which is a holiday. So the staff is proposing to move that to June 12th. Since we have to continue to a time certain, to have that brief discussion really quick. I know it's on the agenda later too.
It is. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Okay, so, it sounds like we're gonna need a motion to move item 6. Well, can we move unfinished business to the end of the meeting? Easier.
There's only one under unfinished business.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, we can.
let's move that to the end.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so we need a motion to move, item number 5 to the end of the meeting.
Make a motion to move, item number 5, unfinished business. Hearing of the finance reimbursement for Ponderosa Pines subdivision to the end of the agenda for tonight.
I will second that.
All those in favor? Great. It is moved to the end of the agenda. Now we are moving on to new business. Item A, big one, discuss and consider city council appointments. Drum roll, please. All right, so we're gonna start off by, I'm gonna pull up the email that our city attorney sent, because our charter is slightly ambiguous, and we want to make sure that we suss out any ambiguities in the charter before we start nominating and voting. I'm going to try to find that email that he sent her. Oh, thanks. Sure. Look at how prepared you are. Okay.
You read that, eh?
Yeah. So what it is that I'm trying to clarify here is that, so obviously we're kind of in an unprecedented situation here where we're appointing 4 people, hopefully.
Yeah.
If we're successful tonight, we're appointing 4 people to the council. Our charter is written more for one at a time, so we just want to be careful that we're doing everything the right way. And because of that, what we aim to do is have our nominations, our discussions, our voting. The actual appointment will take place at the end of tonight's meeting, and the swearing in will take place at the next city council meeting. So what I need is a motion to clarify that any applicants that are voted onto the council this evening will be appointed at the end of tonight's meeting. Does that make sense?
You just include that in motion to nominate. So you would, I think, motion to nominate, appoint, swearing in.
I just want to make sure that, I think this is the way that Peter recommended that I do it, so I'm going to stick to what he said. No offense, it's not that I'm discounting what you're saying, but it makes sense to me to do it this way, and I think that, to have it up front at the very beginning is, that I would like to entertain a motion to
I recall his email to say that we could do it to where, if like we appointed them, then they would be, right, appointed at that time, and then they would even be able to, vote. Or we can put in the motion at a certain time
Right,
that they are then put
yeah. Yeah, so I
So-
think that,
with that. Yes.
So are you proposing that we appoint tonight and then that they would be able to vote once they're sworn in, which would be at the next
correct,
meeting?
At the
Correct.
next meeting?
correct.
Okay.
I mean, we could swear them in tonight, but
Right.
some people might want to have friends or family present. They might want to wear their best suit. I don't know. The press
Your
might be
favorite
here
flip
taking
flop,
pictures of them, and they might want to look good. And so, I think that we will appoint tonight at the end of the meeting. We will swear in at the beginning of next month's meeting.
Or we could just make the motion to be, here's the motion, here's who we, you know, and in the motion, just put when they would be sworn in.
The key to me is when they're actually appointed, not the swearing in. The swearing in is kind of a formality. But in our,
Okay.
in our charter, it says that once the counselor is, the majority of the council votes for a particular person, they are automatically appointed. And so I want that to take place with all four people at the same time.
Right, so
At the end of the
in the
meeting.
motion, we just put that we appoint them to the following at this time. You know, like to the,
I also believe that we need to specify when we vote which position,
absolutely.
whether it's going to be, whether we're doing A, B, C, and D, or however you're designating
They
the
all have their
position.
seat numbers with,
Do they?
yes, there's a seat number and then like a code, or I don't know what it stands for, but, what's that? Is that what it is? SCI number.
Okay.
Okay. I'm hoping that one of my fellow counselors will, propose a motion to appoint the applicants that are voted in today at the end of today's meeting.
But we just talked about putting them in the next meeting.
Well, they'll be appointed at the end of the meeting, they'll be sworn in beginning of the next,
Oh, gotcha.
but they'll officially be council members tonight. I mean, we're voting them in.
It just allows for 5 them.
Okay.
That way
We
they
want-
aren't blindsided at the next meeting with everything that's.
We want them to be part of the discussion, to get all the same materials we're getting over the next 4 weeks or whatever the time is. So I think it's important that, we appoint them at the end of tonight's meeting, and then we swear them in at the beginning of the next meeting. I just want that clarified with a motion, please.
So I'll make a motion, to appoint following applicants to the open seats on, the city council, effective the end of today's meeting.
Well, we don't need to do particular names. I just want it to be just seen that
How are you gonna put someone on there?
whoever we decide to vote in tonight will be appointed at the end of tonight's meeting. No?
I am lost.
Sorry.
We have to put a name to the seat, right?
No,
I think you could just do it in one motion, and
Right.
I think we've had the discussion, we understand that motion. I think just separate the two motions, then, or just do, I think they could just do one motion and.
well, he's proposing a slate of,
I have a slate.
but we haven't discussed whether or not that's how we want to do it. So I think we need to have a discussion about that.
Sure.
And we don't have a motion, that's that.
Yeah, motion and second, and then we, modify, withdraw, change.
I mean, we don't need a motion to have a whole slate.
Okay, well, why don't we have a discussion then?
Yeah.
Do we want to do slate voting where a slate of applicants are nominated and we vote on, or discuss and possibly vote on that slate? Is what Councilor
That's
Manel
what I think would be the
proposing?
easiest, we can just put them all in one.
that would be efficient, but the only downside I see to is that perhaps there's one single applicant that you would rather see on the council and it does
Well,
not.
we can always amend the motion
It-
as through discussion.
Okay,
I like the idea of it, but I'm not sure if it's appropriate. I think that it's important that we discuss each nominee individually, which I think will be challenging on a slate. But I like the idea of a slate. If we only had 4 applicants, I think a slate makes total sense. That's my feeling on it.
I mean, we talked to everyone in the, in the interview process. And make it faster and faster. Here, we can have a slate and then discuss it.
and if that particular slate has issues, you can
Constitute the slate? I guess that's my concern is that if there are 4 people that are presented as a slate, can we reconstitute that slate if it doesn't feel like it's going to work for?
Yeah, you could reconstitute or vote it down and then reconstitute the slate after.
Okay.
That'd be probably the most efficient way, and in accordance with Robert's rules. We have a motion, we have a second, discuss it, have a vote, whether it goes up, whether it goes down, and then we re-look at the slate and then propose another slate.
Okay,
And keep moving forward that way.
I think I could live with that.
Okay,
So,
I will go with what the majority of us like to do.
All right.
no, but do we now have to,
We're just gonna, she's
So I'll
gonna,
just make the motion, make a motion to appoint the following applicants to the open seats on city council effective the end of this meeting, correct? At the end of today's, council meeting as follows. We have seat 2, which is 2583, Dennis Gelson. Seat 4, 2584, Smarta Choli. Seat 6, 2579, Gary Wallison. Seat 7, 2585, Vincent Arditi.
all right, I will open it up to,
Was there a second?
oh,
uh,
second, I get, was that a motion?
well, you're nominating.
I made a motion to nominate.
Okay, and I'll second that opportunity.
So I'll open it up to discussion. It's a unique way to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie,
Yeah,
it's very unique. Ann, you wanna start?
do I want to start? I will start by making a statement saying that I was impressed by the entire slate of candidates. And I know that Mr. Acholi was one of the recalled people, even though just barely. But in some ways, if we don't, I think we need some institutional memory. And so for that reason, I would say that Smarta Choli is and I hate to use the pun, a smart choice.
And one of my reasonings behind, Mr. Acholi on there was give a voice to the marginalized community within King City. They can feel comfortable to talking to someone that, is within their safe, that's kind of my feeling behind that is balance with the council and to be able to have a good, representation of citizens in the city, right? There's minority groups, there's different groups that may feel more comfortable coming to another counselor that was within their safeness.
Yeah, I agree with both of what you both had to say about, Smart Acholi. Obviously, it's controversial because he was recalled. But I want to remind everyone that if we do move forward with reappointing Smart, he was one of the only council members on the last city council that was willing to meet with the recall petitioners to try to come up with a solution. So I applaud him for that, because it was tough. It was a tough situation we were all put in. So that's my take on Councilor Acholi. So as far as the rest of the names, you know, what my hope is that we can have differing opinions and differing viewpoints on the council, because I think it's important that we listen to each other, and it's okay if we have different opinions, but I think that it's important that we all, that our voices are all represented. I'm not sure on this particular slate if all of the voices would be represented. So that is my concern. I was hoping that we would maybe be discussing appointing Randy Olson or Steve Gearhart tonight. Those were my personal, two of my personal favorites, because I've met with both of them in group settings and had a lot of communication with them, and they just both seem like really smart choices to me to represent the other side, I'm going to say. So I would like to see one of the spots, at least on the council, filled by that voice.
But I could say it about, and I agree, they would, I think, both be fine. I went back and forth. I haven't discussed it in a couple of nights. You know, that group reached out to me to meet with them, like you have met with them, I think, last month. I asked them one question, and they won't answer my question. I just couldn't get beyond that. That in my head is, I feel like they don't want to answer a tough question as to why, what their purpose and point behind distributing that letter throughout the entire city, that I just couldn't get beyond it. I had one of them on my list until last night, when I was up at like 2 in the morning, and I just couldn't do it.
I'd love to hear your perspective on that.
My perspective on it,
I would
entertain Randy Olson as a choice. I thought that Vince Arditi was an interesting choice because I felt like he was sort of in both camps. And
I think he would help at parks too, a lot.
And he could help with parks a lot, and we're pushing towards having a lot of open space and recreational space, so that we're not just a whole bunch of buildings, which that concerns me and bothers me. And while I was on the planning commission, I was very vocal about saying, we can't look like River, or whatever, is it River Terrace? Yeah. That would be awful.
Mm-hmm.
And I do feel very strongly about that, and I'm still very vocal about that. And when I've met with Mike and I've said, we can't just be a bunch of buildings. We have to have softness, the softness of nature.
Share my concern about Vincent with you, and that is that we have a rec center planned for Kingston Terrace. And Vincent was very against the Tigard Rec Center, and helped lead that, I don't know how you
The no
would say it,
campaign, yes.
the no campaign on the rec center for Tigard. And I lived in Tigard at the time, and we were all really excited about that rec center. So a lot of people were really disappointed when the rec center went away. So I would hate to see somebody on the council trying to get rid of a future rec center in King City. That concern, it's a big concern of mine. Because we need more recreation, just like we need more parks. So that's my biggest concern about Vincent.
Fair enough.
I would move that we remove Vincent's name from that slate.
With,
I would like to see Randy Olson replace Vincent.
all right, so I'll amend the motion, for seat 7, 2585, remove, Vincent Arditi and replace with Randall Olson.
I'll second that.
Can we vote?
Yeah, is there any further
Anyone else?
discussion?
So that?
Yeah, the reason that, I like, Gary Wallison for the slate is because he doesn't come here with bias. He doesn't feel strongly one way or the other, was not behind the recall, was not behind the letter. He's very neutral, and I think that will bring a lot of value to the city council because we need some neutrality, but we do also need differing voices and differing opinions as well. So that's why Gary Wallison definitely has my vote. And then Dennis brings experience, has served on the planning commission, has served on the council, so I also am supportive of Dennis as well. Any other comments from?
I was gonna echo those comments.
I think, I'd like to make a motion that we vote on the amended slate.
I don't think we need a motion, right?
There's a motion on the floor already.
Yeah, there's already a motion, so we can just call it.
There's a motion and a second, right? So we had an original motion, with 4.
Yep.
And there was a second on that one.
And then based
Based
on
on the conversation, that was
Amended.
amended.
Yep.
Councilor Tyson, you seconded that.
Yes, I did.
And is that what you're asking to vote on now, is the amended?
Yes.
So we're voting on the amended slate, the nomination or the appointing of?
Do you want to read
Well,
out?
it would be the amended slate, and then they were appointed, I said, in the motion at the end of the meeting.
At the end of the meeting?
All right, so, seat 2, 2583, Dennis Gelfen. Seat 4, 2584, Smart Acholi. 6, 2579, Gary Wallison. 7, 2585, Randall Olson.
I'm sorry, I don't know which seats have I don't know which ones are
I
which
don't
term.
remember it either.
Which ones are the long and which ones are
I
the short?
think 2 and 4 were the long, and 7 were the short.
That'll be important for us to clarify
Yeah.
before we
Is
make
that
any
right?
decisions.
Yes, correct.
Right.
As I recall,
2 and 4 are the short ones?
The 2 and 4 are the long.
Long ones.
And then,
Okay. Can you pull up your
and then
screen again, please?
6 and 7 were the short ones.
The 2 and 4 are the long ones.
Mhm.
I don't know if you can say anything.
Sorry?
He's wanting to make a.
Oh, sure, of course.
Sure, seat 2 was, Dennis Gelfen. Seat 4, Smart Macholi. 6, Gary Wallison. 7, Randall Olson.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. You want to vote now, or are we gonna, we don't need a motion to vote, right? Because there's already a motion. Let's vote.
We vote
Okay.
to
Yeah.
accept the slate.
Yes.
We're doing a roll call vote.
Councilor Manal,
Yes.
Councilor Tyson,
yes.
Mayor Thompson.
Yes. Congratulations. For those of you that applied and were not selected, I just want to say thank you so much from the bottom of all of our hearts and everyone in this room's hearts for applying, for being willing to serve your community. We appreciate you.
Too, with that slate, we can fill out the,
Yeah.
I think everyone said that wasn't chosen would be open to going on planning or budget.
Correct. And also, in November, 2 of those 4 seats are going to be up for reelection, as well as my seat. So there will be 3 seats on the November ballot. So any of you that applied that were not selected tonight, please, I'm encouraging you, please apply and run in November for those 3 seats, okay? Yes, Stephen? Oh, yes, please. Gary Wallison,
Gary Wellison, right?
Marta Choley. Congratulations, everyone. Randy Olson. And Dennis. Dennis Gelfand?
Yes.
Thank you. Congratulations. Thank you all. So we'll be swearing in at the beginning of the next meeting. You'll be hearing from probably Ronnie, prior to then with, any kind of, I guess, the agenda, any information, council-related information.
Your inbox will be inundated.
No, don't tell them that. We're not sworn in yet. Okay. Moving on to new business, item B, consider moving the next regular city council meeting from June 19th, 2024, due to it being a holiday. I will not be here on the 12th. So I could do it on the following week, the 26th.
Which I would prefer to.
Okay.
That might conflict with the planning commission. Don't have one set in stone, because I don't have anything going on, but it's potentially going to have some submittals that need to be reviewed by the planning commission on the 26th.
I'm available for either.
Are you gone the whole week or?
Yeah.
Is it possible to do it on the 18th, on a Tuesday? Does that screw life up?
I won't be here.
Oh, you won't be here on Tuesday, the 18th. I thought you were gone, you're gone both weeks?
I leave on the 12th, and I get back on the 24th.
Well,
Oh.
usually,
Yeah, I mean, I can run it, right?
yeah, we'll have a, if you call in by chance, or?
I'll be on a flight.
Get Wi-Fi.
The only
Well-
thing that I would be concerned about pushing it back would be that we have budget on that as well.
Budget on the agenda?
Yeah, it'll be to approve the budget in June, because that's due.
Okay.
So what about the 25th or 27th?
What about the 26th? I don't understand.
So.
But it has to be by the end of June.
We notify our budget calendar to the state of Oregon, published, so that budget calendar is already on. So,
Says what dates?
May 20th and the June 12th date. That's the holiday on that.
I haven't gotten anything. Do it, the planning commission can do the second Wednesday in July. The 26th, where for council. Not about that, it's about budget. Right, yeah, it doesn't do as much, so,
20th at 9:30. I put it on my calendar.
How about Monday the 10th?
Yeah, that works for me.
You guys mind if I make a call?
Not at all.
Go for
Not
it.
at all. Monday the 10th works.
Monday is
I thought it was too close to buy it. So as long as it's adopted before that, it doesn't get us much legal.
Can we send her flowers?
Butter lunch.
So if you, that's what you'd like to do, to June 26th. Ronnie, what does that do for our
Back on the 20th.
public hearing? Should we, what does that get on the 720 day or whatever?
Here handles the public hearing portion of that one.
No, I'm not talking about budget, I'm talking about the. Gate. Yeah.
Is it 120 days from the initial, time, so it's only been a month.
No,
It's 2 months. Oh, yeah.
3 months. Because it's more than 90 days, that we've had to have,
We have to have it time certain.
yeah, but what is the rule?
Oh, Robert's rules, it's, you are only allowed to basically table and issue twice.
So it's not 120 day agreement?
No. So technically, formally, you just need to,
We tabled, today would be twice.
today would be twice.
Doesn't matter the date, but we can't do it again anyway, so. But we can table it to,
They have already, yeah.
that's a good chance.
Okay. Okay. So the 26th, we're gonna move the next city council meeting to June 26th?
Okay.
6 PM. And Maxie said it's fine, you can do the, planning commission meeting another time?
We'll work around it.
Thank you, appreciate that. All right. We figured it out, yes, okay. New business, item 6C, ride connection service expansion and shuttle improvements throughout King City. Presenter, Max Carter.
So, I don't know how familiar you are with the bike connection shuttle service we have.
Oh, the microphone?
King City is being serviced by Ride Connection, it's been serviced by Ride Connection for a number of years. It's the free shuttle service through Ride Connection, which is a nonprofit, that they operate kind of loosely right now. They do a lot of on-call, so people call the service to get them from their homes. It's a pretty important service because it does serve a lot of our older residents and people that aren't as mobile as others, so it gets a Safeway and some of the other golf courses in some places in the city, service is used. But Washington County is starting to utilize their statewide transportation improvement fund, which has been given to them through ODOT. And part of that is they are going to smaller cities within Washington County and improving their transportation infrastructure. And since Ride Connection is the only pretty much current transportation infrastructure that we have publicly within the city, they are proposing to come in and install actual bus stops, or well, shuttle stops within the city through Ride Connection. The Ride Connection will still be free, but it's gonna have an actual timed route and go around and pick up on a more rigid schedule, and there's signage and a couple different, like, no parking zones throughout the city. And so I've been working with Washington County, and we have some ideas. They're looking at potentially doing up to 10 shuttle stops within the city, including over by the grocery outlet, outside condos right over there. Along King George is gonna have some of the no parking zones. One of the bigger improvements they're looking to do is on 126 by that KCCA park. If you're familiar, there's like a linear park that goes on the stretch of 126 north of King Richard. They are looking at building a pedestrian pathway on the side of that because there's no sidewalks on that stretch of road.
That would be good.
So I'm just kind of giving you a brief because either at the next meeting or the one in July, folks from Washington County's Transportation Division are gonna come out and give an actual presentation to show you the improvements that they're doing and what they're planning on implementing. Ultimately, all the stops that Washington County will be installing, as I said, will be funded through this fund from ODOT, so we don't have to pay for anything, but then after they're installed, they'll be given to the city for maintenance. So for the pedestrian paths and no parking zones and paint and signage and stuff like that, on the actual roads. The signs themselves will still be Washington County, because they don't want to give us signs.
I have a question, Renee.
Yeah.
So, Ride Connection, I was under the impression that it picks people up, but it will take them to places like doctor's appointments and shopping and hair appointments and whatever. So, how are they going to be able to do that on a schedule?
That is a good question. So I'm not sure if they are completely I'll ask and get back to you on that, because I'm not sure if they're doing multiple shuttles or if they're still gonna have the roving shuttle and then also have that one that's on the rigid route. Because the route is going to go through King City to the Safeway and then down Durham all the way to Bridgeport Village for people who want to go to Bridgeport Village. And it'll also service Durham and those parts of Tigard. So I will ask and let you know.
Yeah, the logistics just seem fuzzy.
Yeah. Yeah, so they sent me over, IPA, and I'm gonna read a draft today that I am. And it's pretty straightforward, it's only 2 pages, Peter gets the okay, and after Washington County comes and gives their presentation, if you are agreeable to it, then we'll move forward with this, and we will be starting to do construction, as soon as this fall. And I'll have the route itself, like where the stops are, is still kind of working right now, so once that's more concrete, I'll be sure to update you guys and put it on the next.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Great.
If there's any other questions.
No, it all sounds good to me.
Is there gonna be public input on where the stops would be, or is Washington County and rideshare gonna?
I think Washington County is doing rapid studies, to figure out where exactly the most stops are. But
I would hope maybe they have some kind of engagement back on where a lot of the community wants to have stops for the scheduled service.
yeah, we're a data point.
Okay.
Great. Thank you, Max. Next. Okay. Next is Resolution 2024-05, a resolution revising fees, charges, fines, and assessments by the City of King City, Oregon, and rescinding Resolution R-2020-18. Presenter is Mike Weston, City Manager.
So, you have my hard copy up there, but,
Oh, do you want it?
No, it's okay. I'll just walk you through kind of some of the things that we've addressed here. Planning fees, and added some clarity now that we have new Kingston Terrace ordinance and all that jazz. So we went in and added plan review fees and, city manager fees, planning commission fees, any sort of application fees associated with land use. So those are in there. Everything else, we did a CPI increase and averaged that out over the past 4 years running, is that right? And so, just basically bringing us back up to speed. We're still behind, I believe, on our building permit fees. Well behind other areas, and we should probably think about increasing those, but that requires cooperation with the building code department and evaluation with that. Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so, Claire Company, the city engineers, and I have been working on that. It's with inflation from the, ENR, CPI, it's 27%. That's how much it needs to go up for buildings. Washington County is doing 8%, but they also keep theirs updated every single year. Ours is, last time we did ours was in October of 2020. Did a 2.5 every other year, but that's not keeping up with inflation.
That's what we had agreed to do with the
With the
building
state.
department when we implemented the fees, is that we would fix it do a full-blown review to really.
My question when I was voting, what was it tied to? And I think you answered that.
It's mostly permits, so permits.
And, there's park fees, there's use fees, there's right-of-way fees, there's, code violation fees.
We did, the biggest change, well, we have traffic violations for the police department. Since I've been here, we've never touched those. It's always been very low. So we did the CPI increase from 2000. Was, I believe, yeah, it's not much. It was like $10. So, that was.
Yeah, no, like you tied all of the increases to the index.
I mean, there's other fees that the city needs to consider as we grow, but we didn't feel it was a good conversation for today. We'll have those conversations later on, those will just be, and we've talked about them before, like the stormwater fee, parks and rec fee, what is it? There's like vehicle registration fee, those sort of things are the fees that we can, put out there with the resolution and I'll help generate and for maintaining those, certificates.
So in section 1, general fees, the franchise fee for electricity and natural gas, it says Portland General Electric franchise fee, 3.5% of defined gross revenue, and then it says expires January 6, 2022. Is that right? Or is that a typo?
It's been extended, I believe, but that's when the franchise agreement had expired, but it was extended at that point in time, so.
That's the same thing with, down too.
That's down, yeah. There's a couple franchises. It just it goes into the next term, if I'm not mistaken.
Those dates are the original expiration date, have options to.
There's like options. And when we get to the point where we negotiate all of our franchise agreements, then that, but you guys will see the franchise. I think we just got one from.
Yeah, they're, wanting to renew for 10 years.
So that'll come to you next. They're fiber optic.
Yeah, Northwest Fiber is also May 2022, so,
Those might have options that already were extended.
yeah, okay,
Northwest Natural and PG.
yeah, okay.
I'll look into that for sure. Fine, we probably have that section.
The resolution will allow you to do that.
Okay.
Thanks for bringing it to our attention.
Thank you. Any other questions about the resolution? Mike, would you like to read the resolution? I mean, is that a requirement?
This is by title.
Oh, okay.
That's for ordinances.
Yeah. I can just read it if you want me to read the whole thing or.
Well, usually when we have a resolution, you read them, so I wasn't sure if that was a requirement or if that was just fun. It's very fun.
So we have a typo at the heading of this, Ronnie. It needs to be 2024. Dash, 5.
No. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the agenda has it correct.
It's just the heading. Yes.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but there's typos.
Okay.
So, bear with me here if I mess it up, I apologize, but, resolution number R 2024-05, a resolution revising fees, charges, fines, and assessments of the city of King City, Oregon, and rescinding resolution R 2020-18. Recitals. Whereas the city adopted resolution R 2020-18, which outlined the city provides policy revising fees, charges, fines, and assessments of the city of King City, and
back up. So whereas the city adopts resolution R 2024-05, which outlines the city policy revising charges, fines, and assessments of the city of King City, and rescinds resolution R 2020-03, and whereas the city is allowed by law to establish fees, charges, and fines that may be assessed as individuals requesting services and materials to be supplied by the city staff, or for the costs may be incurred by the city on behalf of any member of the public, or that may be assessed as a fine. Whereas the city of King City provides a full range of municipal services to the community, including police protection, traffic control, and improvements, street maintenance and improvements, and planning and zoning regulations and building inspections and regulations. This master fee schedule consolidates all city fees and charges adopted by the city council resolution, various services that the city provides. Typically, it is updated annually and reflects all fee resolutions passed by the council during the year. And whereas prudent use of the city's financial resources requires that the city charge fees sufficient to recover the costs and personnel time and materials to render the services requested, and whereas based upon an unusual circumstance or event demonstrated hardship or public benefit, the city manager is authorized to waive or decrease the fee or charge in a particular matter or establish a fee not yet authorized in this schedule. When a new fee is established by the city manager, it shall be incorporated into the master fee schedule, and it shall be included and specified during the next update to the master fee. And whereas the city manager is authorized to make non-substantial changes to the master fee schedule following passage by city council, and whereas the city council desires to update its prior master fee schedule to include new fees, charges, and fines established by the city manager and council, and whereas the proposed fee changes are necessary to offset the inflationary increase in program costs to maintain a fund balance reserve and to maintain current levels of services. The city of King City resolves as follows: rescind resolution R 2020-18, adopt master fees, charges, and assessments scheduled as authorized in the King City Municipal Code, as stated in Exhibit A, which is incorporated in full by this reference. 3, this resolution will take effect upon passage, presented and adopted by the City Council of the City of King City this 5th day of May, 2024.
Okay, any further discussion on the resolution? And I'll entertain a motion to approve the resolution with minor corrections to the title.
I'll get that. Make a motion to approve resolution 024-05, a resolution revising fees, charges, fines, and assessments for King City, Oregon, and rescinding resolution R 2020-18 with minor correction of some of the dates that were, resolution numbers.
I'll second that motion.
Great, all those in favor, raise your hand, please.
Very much.
You, moving right along.
2. Item 6E, discuss and consider commissioning a charter committee to consider code and charter amendments. Presenter, Mike Weston, City Manager.
So we have discussed potential charter amendments. Typically, with charter amendments, there's also a committee of citizens. Typically, the makeup of that committee is a couple staff members,
members at large. It could be members of your budget, a member from budget, a member from planning commission, member from council. But the idea is that we have a committee of people that will review the proposed amendment that hopefully Max will be working on here in the near future. And through the process, that charter committee will make recommendations once we get through the public process and the involvement with that committee, then, they should have a package of charter amendments to propose to referendum. So that would be the process. It typically takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to get through the whole public involvement process. You're looking at, a group of folks, we probably look for volunteers, and they would need to be appointed by this council to, that committee, and then represent their citizen voice for what kind of amendments they'd like to see in the charter. And we could work our way through that over the course of the next year, and then hopefully that charter committee comes to a resolution, presents that resolution to the council for referendum.
Great.
So the question, how many people do we want on our charter?
That was what I was gonna ask you. How many do
I
you
like
want?
odd numbers.
Doesn't say it had to be an odd.
Yeah, odd numbers are always good because odd numbers break time. So,
7 to 9?
yeah, 7 to 9 is, I think 9.
Much more than 9, I think, becomes unwieldy.
Yeah.
And somebody who's been listening online has already volunteered, I got a text.
That'd be great, and I think that there's a number of charter amendments that are, we've identified, and a number of charter amendments that our legal counsel has identified, and the council themselves have identified. So I think having those on, put on a list and working through.
And I think things that are murky definitely, where it could be interpreted 2 different ways, those need to be cleaned up.
And there may be options,
The League of Oregon Cities has a, framework charter, so you can start with like a charter that's up to date legally, and then work from that framework and reshape how a lot of things are, rolled through our.
Do you think that it will be difficult to find 9 people? Okay. Should we set our sights at 7, and if we have an overwhelming response, then we can push that out to 9? Or, yeah, we could, that's, sure.
Yeah, I'd say,
7 to 9.
put it out there, and it's really up to you, the council, to determine how many are totally on the committee itself.
Okay.
It's good to have an idea, but we can have a general consensus, 7 to 9 members,
Yeah.
and then, I think if
Yeah, exactly.
But, I think that through Bonnie's point and something, that I'm guessing that we have to do like a resolution or something to establish the committee, which we'll need to form.
Okay.
So that gives us an opportunity to then go to legal counsel
Okay.
and come back to you with an official resolution to commission a chart committee
Okay.
with the exact number. So right now, we're saying between 7 and 9, and
I mean, I like 9, right, being optimistic, I think now too with community involvement, we might be able to get that, hopefully.
okay.
Will they need to be King City residents, or can they also be future?
They have residents, because it has to go to the ballot.
Right, yes, so it has to be resident, since it would actually, just like what Tiger is going through right now, then it goes to the ballot. I don't see someone within the city, but then like, we have to say how many like council members or planning commission members or budget members now out of that 9, or can we say it could be like no more than 2 each or something?
The more direction you can give me, the better off it's gonna be for me. That gives me
How many,
tell me now what you're envisioning, then we can try to take what you're telling me.
I still like 9, and like 3 from the community, 2 from the budget committee. I'm just spouting off the top of my head, so please jump in.
Did you say that some staff members would be part of the committee as well?
typically the staff is there to one.
Present the problems that we've had and, provide input on functionality, on what it functions and what hasn't. And, in this case, this is going to be spearheaded by Max here, chasing down these things.
But he won't be technically part of the committee, he'll just be helping
Correct.
lead
Yeah,
and moderate.
he'll just be there to,
Okay.
get
He will
five,
be one.
yeah, just a
Okay.
five-head row to
Yeah, I mean, how many people do we even have on the budget committee right now? It might be a hard ask
She
to
went
have
home.
2 budget committee members.
And probably 2 or 3 people from the
have
planning.
volunteers that mentioned in their interviews that they might be interested in this.
Other committees, yeah.
Yeah,
So we have a pool, we can,
I think having a,
if we did 5 committee members, budget,
And plan.
council, planning,
Yeah.
that's 8, with 6 community members maybe.
Even, Mayor, you asked me to remind you, that, just about the plan, budget.
yes,
Interview.
thank you.
Um,
Yes, yes, thank you. I'll write that down and we'll talk about that when we're done talking about this. Thank you.
So, Commissioner, so you started out, you said you didn't want 9, but then you said 3 community members, 2 potentially from the budget committee.
Yeah, which, the budget committee should be a little more robust than one person, I think.
Right, I agree with the board. So, that gives us 5. Did you have any other committees that you'd like to?
Well, the planning commission, and again, probably at least 2 people from the planning commission, I don't know. And are city councilors supposed to be part of this charter commission or not really?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, I'm asking for guidance here, so.
I don't think it's a good idea in this
Okay.
situation, because I think what we're trying to go for might create a conflict of interest for you all.
Okay.
So, I think in
So maybe we need 4 or 5, like you said, 5 people.
Like 6 community members, 2 planning commission, and 1 budget.
Oh, good.
Yeah, that sounds like a,
8, right?
That's
That
9.
was 9, right? Am I gonna count those?
No, you counted right. That's 9.
and
I
if
like
we
it.
can't reach the threshold of 9, we just lop off 2.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like it. Cool. Is that all you need from us right now on that?
I think so, and then we'll
Okay.
draft the resolution, we'll share with, at the next meeting, and if, council has amendments to the resolution, we can maybe amend that one time.
Great. Thank you for that. Okay, so yeah, what you were talking about earlier was, thank you for reminding me about that, is I wanted to, say that that we should, or propose, I guess, that we, appoint, how many openings do we have on the planning commission? Is it 2, Ronnie?
2 openings.
2 openings? That we try to appoint, people to those openings at our next council meeting?
Yes.
Because we had 1 applicant that we interviewed last week, but we also had several, applicants for the city council
Right.
positions that, said they would be interested in serving on the planning commission. So
Yeah.
I think next month we should invite those interested parties back, and we can have a discussion, nominations, and
There's
vote,
probably budget committee too, right? Someone said they would be open to that.
and budget committee,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
Absolutely. And like reiterate, to make sure that
Yeah, we'll need to reach out to those that have expressed interest, to that certain fee. They want us to roll their, already getting time, so relatively forward process, if the commission, the one, potential.
great. So you'll reach out to them and you'll report back to us. Great, thank you, that's great. Okay, moving right along to the police chief's report. Sorry?
Oh, we moved unfinished business,
Thank you. You're right, we did.
thanks, Aaron.
Okay, good catch. So unfinished business, and, we're tabling this to next month, right? So do we need a motion
Yeah.
to table it? Okay. And the reason was, because the attorney wasn't able to be here tonight, so that's why it's being tabled to next month. So I will entertain a motion to table the public hearing for the advanced finance reimbursement for Ponderosa Pines subdivision to our next council meeting on June 26th. Anyone would like Would either of you like to make that motion?
We're doing the stare down.
What was that? To table, I have to go back and read it.
Say so moved.
Oh, can you?
Yes,
Oh,
say so moved, because she.
So moved.
Second.
at 6 p.m. Okay, all those in favor, raise your hand. And table. Well done. Is there anything else that I'm forgetting before I move on? Okay. Chief Hapola, you're up.
Just had, short thing, so, just had 2 senior officers, complete the 80-hour Metro Sergeant's Academy, that, covers a myriad of subjects over 2 weeks. And, just quickly stuff, just knowing and managing yourself, competencies, interpersonal, skills, decision-making, critical thinking, motivation, and leadership in the public safety organization, managing conflict and performance. And so we look forward to seeing their growth, within. And, just a quick follow-up on, CPR classes for board and council members. We're in the process of trying to arrange that with TDF and our initial thought is probably to do a work day that will help with staff all, as well as members of boards that want to join, and then also so for that, we should be able to give you
Great.
help out receipt.
That is all I have.
Thank you. Who are the officers that just finished up?
Aragoni and Kashmir.
Oh, great. Great. Do we have any questions for Chief Hapola? Thank you. City Manager's report. No question.
Been a little busy lately, and, last month it was with personnel issues. I can't even go into how challenging it was, but we were down to like 1, maybe 2 people in the office, everybody else out with this bug going around or a family sickness or it was just insane last period. Made it through, but we are in the throes of budget and we're in the throes of audit. So we're trying to catch up on both of those. We've been very overhead with this stuff, and then dealing with being out of the office, family issues as well. So struggling, but hopefully we're on target to meet our deadlines. We have the budget committee meeting next Monday at 10:30.
9:30, I think.
Yeah, okay. Budget committee, May 20th, 9:30 here. Hopefully we'll have some pizzas and stuff for everyone around lunchtime hour. Audit's being worked out. We held the Westside Trail open house on May 7th, Tuesday, down at Deer Creek Elementary. And about 40 to 50 people show up. There were a large majority of folks from the Rivermead community. There was also a large number of folks from the water community. And then a few people, I would say over off of 131st Street. So that was pretty much the demographic that was there. We're probably going to do a few more outreach dates here and there. Some of the things that were brought up, a lot of people really wanted to see water access. A lot of people wanted to see gardens, nature parks, a lot of demand for, what was it, there was bike and walking, and then there was also the equestrian trail. There was a request for equestrian trail as well. So we're going to look at that. We have our surveys out. We sent surveys over to Deer Creek Elementary School. Yep, and we're probably going to just try to get some out there. The demographic that we saw at the open house was primarily adult and elderly folks, not necessarily family-aged kids and things of that nature. So that's why we sent some surveys over to the Deer Creek kids and hopefully get some input from their parents at the survey. attention, that's where we're moving on this right now. There's still a lot of work left to go. You know, we're trying to start, like I was trying to explain it, with a blank slate. So we start from scratch, so we are able to garner all that community input and apply it. And that way, it doesn't look like we're coming in with preconceived notions or prejudices or biases or anything else like that. We just wanted a blank slate coming in clean. So hopefully, this will develop over the course of the next year, next 2 years, however long it takes to get this trail built. So, it's in our 5-year strategic plan. So this is, in all things government, nothing really happens overnight. It takes us a while to get through all the stuff that we have to do. So this is the first step. We come up with an idea. Next step is we come up with a design, and then we get permits, and then we try to implement or go chase money to actually get it shovel ready. And so nothing happens overnight in our sphere, but we do try to keep moving that football down the field. So that's the update on the Westside Trail open house. I thought it was very constructive, some really good inputs from people, some legitimate concerns that we heard and voiced. The road discussion, just want to go down that path, but there of course are concerns about those things. So other elements that we're looking at now that we have all the planning stuff behind us, we have policies that have been on our back burner that we want to start bringing in and start developing in-house policies. We have staff needs. So when you read the budget message, you'll see that I've identified some staffing growth needs that we're going to need in the near future. I'm hesitant to fill those positions until we actually see revenue start coming in. I don't like to go out and bank on something and then not have it materialize. So that's why I put it in the budget message of what our needs are going forward. The budget itself is a projection of what we're anticipating seeing. It's almost doubling our revenue over the course of the next year, which is incredible, and a lot of that comes from the 800-unit subdivision that was just, it's exciting times, fun times, to keep us busy. There's a lot of fun and exciting things happening. That is all what we've been.
Well said, Mike. Thank you for that. Any questions for the manager? Any questions for Mike, Jan? No? Okay. I do have one question about the West Side Trail. Is putting a boat dock in, is that like 100% going to happen, or is that just one of those things that's an idea that would be great if that happened?
I would love to say the whole thing. The struggle is finding the money, right? So right now we have an RFFA grant, which is out of Metro Bond, and that helps us meet our federal requirements for acquiring federal funds to do, right? So this is part of a regional trail. So my hope is minimize the dollars that King City residents have to spend, right? So I can do that by hopefully having cooperation with the HOA, with Mobile Home Park, and Bonneville, and PG trails, and the amenities in that corridor. Now, Metro hopefully will work with the cities, which they've done really well in the past, on going to the federal government and lobbying for regional trail money or regional transportation funds, and those funds are offset by our bond monies, right? So then Metro comes in with a transportation package, and hopefully we can roll ours in theirs and get it funded. That might even include the bridge across over to Heritage Pines if it's big enough, right? So we think about federal dollars. We think, how can our region pool enough projects together to make a ask at a federal level that counts and drives Congress to vote to grant the region money and get that regional money increased. So guarantee, right? Because we're talking about federal dollars, not necessarily city dollars.
Okay.
And it takes a while to, amass all those grant funds together. But for the docks, there's some state, local grants that we could pursue that might be easier. And, Tualatin River Keepers is a great resource.
Mhm.
And, you know, I was talking with, Mark Fitzpatrick from Tualatin River Keepers at the open house. You're talking about potential funding mechanisms, and you have, there's at least a dozen that probably apply just for that piece. But we need to get the planning done, right? And we need to get the land acquisition taken care of, and then we can add those improvements.
Doesn't the Corps of Engineers have to weigh in on this because it's a navigable river?
They definitely do, and it's part of the joint permit application process that we'll have to go through. So that's the next step. So we get through all this planning, we get through design, engineering, at least to about 25% is what we're going for, and then we apply for permit.
And then if we get permits and things look positive on that front, then we start the engineering to get to 100%. And then once we get to 100% design engineering, then we can get money for, because then we're shovel ready. So the timing's outside of my goal necessarily. Might go faster than I hope, it might take longer than I hope. My experience has been it usually takes longer. Usually, even if we get awarded the grant in, say we got awarded the grant in October, my experience has been, once you go through contracting, scoping, the RFP process, everything else, then you still don't break ground for almost a year later. So, challenge with bureaucracy.
Any other questions for Mike? No? Thank you, Mike. Okay, we'll move on to the counselors' reports. Who would like to go first?
I'll try to speak more loudly, since Patty pointed out that I'm difficult to hear. So on May 3rd was the Transportation Policy Alternatives Committee, which, so they have two new ODOT projects where they're called the Great Streets Program, looking at safety upgrades to fatal crash areas, and carbon reduction program, which is forwarding a share shoulder program for buses on I-205 at Stafford during congestion times. So it's kind of like, I guess, temporary, like an HOV lane for public transportation only for a segment, so that those vehicles will at least be shifted off of 205 during congestion times. And this morning, I sat through the Metropolitan MTAC meeting, which Sherwood presented their latest development concept plan, which you can view on the Sherwood City's website if you're curious. And it is Sherwood mostly to the south, and a lot of what I call mixed commercial industrial development that's coming first. And Metro does help with grant and technical assistance, which I think Mike alluded to in helping cities become ready to do development and access grants and other kinds of things. And there's a new release of population income and economic activity this winter. Metro has to do this every year, actually. They update it. It's a state mandate, which is a compilation of the Department of Administrative Services, Oregon Housing and Community Services, and DLCD, where they bring all of those factors together to try to forecast how many people, how much land needs to be either reworked or newly worked to meet the demand. And the last part is both Mark and I went to the League of Oregon Cities Conference in Klamath Falls, April 25th and 26th, and we've been here long enough tonight, but a lot of good there were a lot of interesting roundtables and presentations, and the oxymoron, we're from the government and we're here to help you, I would say, is not really an oxymoron. We made connections with a lot of suppliers of municipal services and equipment, and technical assistance, and the federal agencies have representatives that I swear must just live out of a suitcase in a car and go from one small town to the next small town to say, we're here, what can we do, how can we assist you? And I found that, incredible, in aid in finding federal grant money for things from housing to environmental protections and basic infrastructure. And I think Mark and I both picked up brochures and talked to people and business cards and gave them to city staff to further our connections. So anyway, that's all I have to say.
I just got a text from my daughter, so I need to check it. I'm really sorry because she needs a ride home and my husband's not there. So I apologize. I'm just going to text her back.
And in 5 minutes, yeah.
First, just figure out.
Oh, okay. I'll just be super quick. Like Jan said, we went to the LOC conference, and one of the sessions was actually good timing about mental health in city councilors, just with come through. It was very in-depth, and I think it was like a 4-hour session or 3 hours, all about mental health.
Wow.
It helps a lot. Just kind of going through everything we've been going through. That, and then I met with the Metropolitan Land Group after the Planning Commission. They just kind of went through their development plan. That's just right in that 1,000-foot overview of what the plan was, and into their whole thing. So that's all I have.
It's great that they offered that at the conference.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there was that, there was many more speakers. I'll tell you, the sheriff from,
Marion.
he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's a really good speaker, and he has implemented a program. I mean, basically, he said, hire the staff for this program, couldn't bring them on into the sheriff's department. He had to hire them onto the health authority, county, because they had to be an ex-felon, and because they went out and partnered with other sheriff's deputies, so they could, talk to people on the streets, real life situations, real time. And he said that program is getting kind of rolled out nationwide. A lot of counties in Oregon are going to start doing that. I know he did mention Washington County, so. Yeah, it was just a great pro. He's a really good speaker too. Yeah, it was really good and enlightening. Learned a lot.
Great. Thank you both for going down to the conference.
Yeah.
Yes, representing King City. Let's see. Exciting news is that I spoke with Heather Wakeham today, and she is, I guess, the last remaining King City Foundation board member, and she said that she is planning to do a 4th of July parade still this year, which is great. She did let me know that KCCA is doing their own separate parade, which is interesting, but that's fine. So I guess the other parade is going to, Foundation's parade is going to focus more on Edgewater, 131st, and end up, I think, at the park again, as it usually does. So she is looking for volunteers to help, and I think she is maybe talking with you. And I reached out to a couple people I know that are interested in helping with that too. So thank you in advance for your willingness to help with that. It's such a fun event, and families love it, kids love it, adults love it, so it would have been really sad if it didn't happen at all, so I was really happy to hear that it is going to happen. And then I've been continuing to meet with community members and the developers to try to come up with some solutions, and we're still working towards that. I've connected them with some of the people that I've been meeting with in the community, so we're hoping that we can get some meetings, going in the next week or two to hopefully come up with some solutions that will work for the majority of the community and for the developer and for the city. So I'll keep you posted and up to date on that. All I have, I think that's it. I think we're done. I think that's a wrap. Yeah? Okay. Well, I will entertain a motion to conclude the meeting, and done.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay, we are adjourned until Wednesday, June 26th at 6 p.m. Thank you all for coming very much, and congratulations to our newest appointees. Thanks, Randy.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Welcome back, Smart. Thanks
Very much. I could hear.
Patty.
Yes.
I told you my brother's name is Jan. It was like a boy named Sue.
Yes.
He suffered with that name his whole life. And he was only like 5'2".
Yeah. No, I saw that. Great. Are you really? No. Seriously.
Yeah. I have a good friend who is German, and she is married